We're back at Woods Off-Road in San Marcos, California. Johnny and I have been pecking away at the S120. Got a lot of work to do, don't we?
Yes.
We've made some progress, but we've got basically everything left to do. So we'll catch up to speed on what's been done and show you what we got planned.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about this one. There's a lot of custom cool stuff on it, so come check it out.
Right on. So last time we left off, this thing was just a bare chassis. We had the axles in and the engine was over on a stand. We've wrapped up the engine build. All the parts from Duralast that we ordered through AutoZone Pro are installed. The Hemi's complete. We got our junkyard bell housing, inside's the Duralast clutch, starter, everything's there. We've got a Monster NV4500. Monster Transmissions takes care of the fifth gear problems that these things sometimes have with the gear coming off.
And then we got the R-Tech high steer arm in, so that's all welded to the knuckles. Again, retaining the JK gas tank and using the Sterling 10.5, it's kind of known that those two don't really go together. If you put a Sterling into a JK, usually you have to do it like a Generite gas tank. But I was actually able to modify this gas tank, so it was a lot of time with a heat gun and molding, and so but you're missing about a gallon there.
Yeah, but I'm stoked to have a JK fuel tank in this thing because it frees up space on the back end compared to an aftermarket fuel tank that would go back there. I don't have to run a cell in the bed, so I'll actually have some bed space, and it leaves this whole side of the chassis open for exhaust. So it's a great solution. I'm really excited to have 21-ish gallons under the chassis. So for once, I'll have some cargo carrying ability.
So I think today we'll probably permanently mount the cab. I think that one can go on. I don't need it off anymore. Get this down for the last time. Then we can mount our tires, start positioning the front clip, and do everything else. So when I stole this T-case out of the Super Dirty from the 2013 and 2016 Ultimate Adventures. I don't think you're supposed to disclose that.
I don't care. That truck ran a 1410 yoke rear drive shaft. Planning on running a 1350 CV. So I had Stephen Watson at Off-Road Design send one of his off-road design CV yokes for the 205. So I'll just pop this off, drop my socket. Jeez.
That wasn't tight.
Broke off.
Shut up.
Well, that complicates things.
The threaded end of the output just snapped off while trying to remove
completely,
the nut.
I've never seen that. So that's porous. You can see it was cracked before. So that thing was damaged or dinged up.
I've literally never seen that happen.
Yeah, that's, I'm shocked. So we'll have to get a new shaft, pop off this bearing retainer, pull it out, put a new shaft in. There's no other way around it. We're figuring out the wiring. Johnny's putting the Edelbrock ProFlow wiring harness on. This is going to actually control the engine and all those systems to run the Hemi. What I'm doing is going through these boxes of painless performance products wiring that arrived. We've got all sorts of stuff we're going to be using in here. Nice high quality battery cables, so we're going to run our winch leads and our battery's going to be remote mounted. Figure out what we're going to do there. We've got a large switch kit, so this includes your headlights, dimmer switch, ignition switch. That's the thing about painless. They really do make it painless to wire a vehicle from nothing, make it go. We've got a bunch of this painless power braid stuff. This is super nice, and it easily installs over your wiring after you've run it to make a nice, safe, and chafe-free protective wrap around it. And then finally, so we've got this painless 23-circuit Pro Series chassis harness, and this thing is going to be able to control all our electrical systems, headlights, flashers, you name it. It's going to have plenty of options for key on, powering for the fuel pump and all that other stuff. Comes with all the terminals, accessories, connectors, you name it. You can literally do a whole chassis, wire a whole car with this system. And best of all, it'll support any additional upgrades we do down the road, like if we do add AC, blowers, wipers, things like that. So these are my favorite bead locks. These are Trail Ready HD17s. I've run them on several of my vehicles. Never had a problem. They're super strong. They don't leak. The bolts don't loosen up on them. And in my opinion, I like the styling better than anything out there. And they're an 8-on-170 bolt pattern to match the Super Duty axles. And we're mounting a set of 40 by 13 17 Milestar Patagonia MT02s. These are same tires we just got done ringing out on Ultimate Adventure. They did great. They're very, very durable, very tough. Even with my close your eyes, hammer down, and don't look where you're going driving style, shouldn't be blowing any tires, I don't think. So I'm just cinching these up. I'm not actually tightening them with this electric ratchet. Then once I get them kind of all snug, I'll start my torque passes. And the thing about beadlock bolts is when you tighten one bolt, it'll pull the ring down, and so that bolt you just tightened will now be looser. So you're going to be going over these things several times, several passes before they're all down to spec. So you just got to be patient, sit here and keep manning the torque wrench. That's like a radioactive, I forget what they call it, but they used to put it on watches and stuff and it would give you cancer.
Really?
Yeah. It glows in the dark.
Does it glow in the dark? Yeah.
Back in the day, it would glow in the dark, yeah.
Is it turn signal indicators?
Yeah, these things.
What are those?
I don't know, but they're rad. You know what? It's probably for like the vents or something. They
I'm
feel
gonna
pretty
polish
solid.
one so it...
No! I'd be so upset. Oh, damn. Hey, can you hand me some of that WD-40 Specialist gel lube? Nice. Oh, man.
Oh, wow.
That actually worked really well. This is your vintage air conditioning, so you'd leave this down in normal driving cold weather, but if it was hot and you wanted to force some air into the interior, you could just raise this up by varying degrees. And as you're going down the road, the air will come right in and just, it gets funneled into the cabin here. These things didn't have sliding rear windows, so it was really hard to get the air moving in the cabin. I'm stoked that thing works. That's awesome. I kind of have this thing, it's not really intentional, but I generally tend to not have functional gauges in my vehicles. It's just not something I really care about. I'm probably not going to be running any of these gauges to monitor engine functions, especially because the Edelbrock ProFlow has this tablet that comes with it, and I can have a dashboard display with this of what the Hemi's doing under the hood. I can also check RPM and other things like that. And then I've usually run a GPS for my speedo. However, I don't want to just stick this modern thing up here on a grip mount. So I think what I'm going to do is kind of design a bracket out of cardboard. I don't do CAD or any of that fancy stuff like Johnny. So I want it mounted here so I can see it from the driver's seat, but I also don't want it to look modern and kind of, you know, swoopy. So I think my idea, this truck is 1956, and the old TVs from the 50s had like this kind of border around the outside of it. So I'm gonna design a bracket here with cardboard. I'll build a template that I can have send, cut, send, bend, and cut out. And then when it comes, I can just mount my, my little TV screen here, and it'll look all cool. And I even might have it done out of copper, so eventually it'll patina and look like a nice old penny. It's always like when you turn the page and you realize what the book is about, you know, you get the wheels and tires on, it starts to actually look like a vehicle. This is where I get all excited. It's really cool. Okay.
Don't tighten those. No, come on.
I'd really like to leave this like it is. Yeah, let's not mess with the body lines too much. We're fitting we want to fit the front clip on here and just see how things are lining up, but the fender doesn't fit over this huge 40-inch Patagonia tire. So Johnny's gonna just little by little start trimming it away till we can drop the fender on here. There's a lot of things that are different between the chassis that this thing originally sat on. I mean, the JK frame horns come up quite a bit. The factory S120 frame was virtually flat. The rails hardly had any arc in them at all. So this is up quite a bit more than what that is designed for. So we'll get it to fit and then we'll see how we're going to attach the front clip onto there. Now that we've actually got this thing in place, kind of where it goes, it does seem the factory location is going to work. We've got room for the headlight bucket. This is more or less full stuff in the worst case scenario with the tire turned all the way to the driver's side. So I think we're going to just leave the fender in the stock location. It's going to give it a sinister, mean, low down stance. It'll give the impression that the vehicle's lower overall, which is kind of, you know, what I like. So yeah, I think we'll just make this fit and just stick it right back in the factory location. One of the things we'd like to do when we're building these things from scratch like this is find the best place to mount all of our components. So right now I'm trying to figure out where to put the battery. We're running an Odyssey Extreme AGM battery, and so that's an absorbent glass mat. It's not a wet cell like a normal battery. It's dry, and the benefit to that is you can mount it in any orientation really, and it's not going to leak. So what I'm thinking of doing is putting it down in the chassis somewhere here and building a protective box around it, and then we'll run our leads to it. This particular Odyssey is a Group 3478, so it has both the top posts of a Group 34 and the side posts of a Group 78, so you have a lot of options in how you're going to mount it and orient it. This one's 850 cold cranking amps, super powerful, but it also has 135 minutes of reserve capacity, so these are just some of the best batteries out there. We're just going to pull this fender apart so we can trim it, get it on there, and we're only going to use part of the inner fender liner. Problem is International just uses panel after panel after panel, and everything's attached with bolts. So after 70 or so years, everything's quite rusty. So we gave everything a good soak in WD-40 Specialist Penetrant, and now that things are loosened up, we're just going to disassemble it, get it on the car, and then put together what we need. We've been getting some progress done. The drivetrain is in here, it's bolted down, all the mounts are done, the cab is cinched down, axles are in, and today was a milestone day. We actually got the wheels and tires on this thing and started cutting the sheet metal to fit. Johnny, what's the game plan from here out?
So most of the wiring for the motor is already done, so hopefully this upcoming week I should be able to get this thing fired. The painless wiring harness is going to go in. I still obviously have to finish up with the sheet metal, finish steering, winch.
Get cooling system.
There's a plethora of things.
A lot more stuff to do. We're going to keep working behind the scenes here because our wheeling day is coming up fast. right, it's alive. Yeah, and it's obviously I'm sitting on an ammo can, so we've got more work to do. But the Hemi's running great. We got the MV4500 in here from Monster Transmissions. These were in the vehicle when I got it from Jeff at IH Parts, and so I really kind of wanted this as a shifter, so Shane built that up. We've got the Magnum shifter here. Johnny made a really trick shifter setup. Got the twin sticks for the 205, and Shane built a killer floor here. Everything's bolted down, everything's together, suspension's tight, all the Skyjacker stuff's cinched up, PSC steering's bled, we got the Willwood brakes in, clutch. We have some more stuff to do. We're not really gonna make our wheeling day, but we don't wanna rush it. That's not the way we do things here. We don't just go for TV done, you know? So we're gonna take our time, get it done right. Got probably a couple more weeks. Outside, I mean, Johnny built a sick bumper. We have the IH Parts America radiator in. We cut the fenders at full stuff, so we're not gonna have any tire rubbing. For me, it was really important to keep all the patina, all the body lines, all the little things that make this a survivor this many years, you know? So someone at some point in time had the spare tire here. I wanna keep this because it's part of the vehicle's history. The cool little hooks with the square bolts. I mean, it sounds dumb to some people, but for me, this is what, you know, makes a car like this really special. When we hung the bed on here, we were contemplating moving the fenders. It's just Shane Wardle had the idea, why don't we just, instead of taking 8 inches off one side, we'll take 4 and 4. It's double the amount of work, but he did a great job sectioning 4 inches out of the back from the center line of the rear axle and 4 inches out of the front. And then he even, you got the bed contours inside to match. This thing's kind of slung down low. JK frames rise in the front and rise in the back. The factory frame on this was pretty much flat. So we just cut the floor of the bed out, Frenched it down over it, and it's cool. It's not like I'm gonna be hauling gravel in this thing or anything. We might cap it over, but I'm perfectly fine with it the way it is. We got a 1350 CVs at both front and rear drive shaft. And front's running a 1350 joint at the axle, and the rear is a 1410 joint. So if these things can survive Tiger, LeBrun, I shouldn't be hurting them.
Oh yeah, in the van. That's crazy.
As you can see,
we got tail back half wiring to do.
Yeah, we still have to do tail lights and
there's too many wires here. It should only need like 3.
You want to take it out and see what the suspension does with the forklift?
Yeah, let's do it.
I think this will be the first time it moves under its own power.
It will. Yeah.
All right. This is actually the first time I've seen it without 2 lift posts kind of blocking the view, so you get to see all the proportions and everything. Man, I love it. I just absolutely love it. When Jeff Ismail first shared photos of this thing with me probably 3-4 years ago, like this is the picture that came into my brain. It's sitting right there. But it's not going away.
No.
It's definitely not going away because we're not done yet.
No.
So we got it running and driving, but we're gonna keep plugging along here and getting everything finished. I'll keep the content going. Check my Instagram page at HBOM Industries or at Ultimate Adventure Official or
at Woods Off-Road. I'll be covering it. So I still got the cage, sliders, rear bumper, winch, vintage air, undercarriage lights from Lux.
Yep. So we're gonna be posting all the content as the build progresses, and then we'll be out wheeling and hitting the trails.